To conclude with the Internet device section here, I want to show you something truly remarkable, which is Google Maps on iPhone. I hit our Maps application here, and it's coming up, and it shows us North America, and I'm going to go to Moscone West. That's where we are right now, and here we are. Boom. That's where we are. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look for something. I'm going to certainly want a cup of coffee afterwards, so I'm just going to look for Starbucks, right? Starbucks. So I'm going to search for Starbucks, and sure enough, there's all the Starbucks. Now, I can get a list of Starbucks here, so I can pick that one if I want, and I can even go look at that Starbucks, and there it is, and let's give them a call.
Good morning, Starbucks. How can I help you?
Yes, I'd like to order 4,000 lattes to go, please. No, just kidding. Wrong number. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. We solved this problem. So how are we going to take this to a mobile device? Well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen. Now, how are we going to communicate this? We don't want to carry around a mouse, right? So what are we going to do? Oh, a stylus, right? We're going to use a stylus. No. No. Who wants a stylus? You have to get them and put them away and you lose them. Yuck. Nobody wants a stylus. So let's not use a stylus. We're going to use the best pointing device in the world. We're going to use a pointing device that we're all born with. We're born with 10 of them. We're going to use our fingers. We're going to touch this with our fingers. And we have invented a new technology called multi-touch, which is phenomenal. It works like magic. You don't need a stylus. It's far more accurate than any touch display that's ever been shipped. It ignores unintended touches. It's super smart. You can do multi-finger gestures on it. And boy, have we patented it. So let's take a look at this market and how big it is. My clicker's not working. Oh, there it is. Maybe it is working. So how big is this market? Well, let's take a look. No. All righty. Clicker is not working. All right. They're scrambling backstage right now. You know, when I was in high school, Steve Wozniak and I, mostly Steve, made this little device called a TV jammer. And it was this little oscillator that would put out frequencies that would screw up the TV. And Woz would have it in his pocket. And we'd go into like a dorm at Berkeley where he was going to school, and a bunch of folks would be watching like Star Trek. And he'd screw up the TV, and somebody'd go up to fix it. And just as they had their foot off the ground, he'd turn it back on. And if they put their foot back on the ground, he'd screw up the TV again. And within 5 minutes, he'd have somebody like this for the rest of the Star Trek episode. Okay, so maybe it's working now. Maybe they're going to have to click them for me. But the biggest news this year, of course, was that we announced that we were going to shift to using Intel processors in Macs. And we announced this at our developer conference this last spring. We announced that by June of this year, June of '06, we would be shipping Macs with Intel processors. So I want to give you an update today. How are we doing?
Steve, I wanted to report that Intel's ready.
Wow. Yeah. Hi, I'm Steve, and welcome to my weekly podcast, Super Secret Apple Rumors. Featuring the hot... Now, I got this all timed out. You gotta let me do this here. All right, I'm gonna try this again. Hi, I'm Steve, and welcome to my weekly podcast, Super Secret Apple Rumors, featuring the hottest rumors about our favorite company. I have some pretty good sources inside Apple, and this is what I'm hearing. The next iPod will be huge, an 8-pounder with a 10-inch screen. Also, Apple's working with other companies to get iPods everywhere. Well, that's all for today. See you next week. All right, so here's my podcast, right? And I'm going to go ahead and select the podcast track here, and I'm going to select my media viewer, and I'm just going to drag the artwork I want right down here, and this is going to be the artwork for my podcast. That's kind of cool. And I'm going to move my voice track over a little bit maybe, and I'm going to just drag my artwork up that I want for my podcast right here, maybe over a little bit like that. All right, so this is going to be my podcast here. Let's see. Hi, I'm Steve, and welcome to my weekly podcast, Super Secret Apple Rumors, featuring the hottest rumors about our favorite company. I have some pretty good sources inside Apple, and this is what I'm hearing. The next iPod will be huge, an 8-pounder with a 10-inch screen. Also, Apple's working with other companies to get iPods everywhere. Well, that's all for today. See you next week. I'd like to show you Photo Booth, and this is just an incredible way to have some fun. So here's Photo Booth, and I can go ahead and just take my picture here. Isn't that great? And you know, we were in a dark room one time, and we thought, wouldn't it be great if we had a flash? And we thought, well, we do have a flash. There's a lot of light behind this display if we just flash it to white. So there's a flash built in, the whole display goes white, and it works really well. But let me show you some really cool effects. You push this effects button, and all of a sudden, in real time, I've got all these pretty cool effects. So I can go to sepia here, or I can go to colored pencil, which is kind of a cool one. Or I could go to thermal here, and just go ahead and, you know, and X-ray. And there's some great ones here. I love this Andy Warhol one too. But it gets even better. So then we decided to put in the teenage effects, and that's number 2 here. So the teenage effects are really great. Like, I'm going to pick bulge here. Or, you know, a dent is pretty good. Squeeze is actually really good. And there's a few of them, actually. Oh, light tunnel's really great when you want to sort of play God here. And so I think we're going to just waste an awful lot of productivity here. But now, as many of you know, our retail stores have for a while been selling over half their Macs to people who've never owned a Mac before, switchers. Well, I'm pleased to report that now in the US, Macs selling through all channels, over half of them are selling to people who've never owned a Mac before. It's not just limited to our retail stores anymore. Half the Macs we're selling in the US. We are picking up lots and lots of new members of the Mac family, and we couldn't be happier. As a matter of fact, here's one that might be coming on soon. Jim Olchin at Microsoft was quoted recently as saying if he didn't work for Microsoft, he would buy a Mac, and he's retiring soon, so I've alerted our Seattle stores to keep an eye out for him and give him really good service. And I'd like to start with the iPad. The iPad's this incredible device. It is really changing the way we're experiencing the web, things like email, photos, maps, video, you name it. It is a whole new way to interact with the internet, with apps, with our content media, and it's going over really well, and it is magical. I know it because I got this email. I was sitting in a cafe with my iPad, and it got a girl interested in me. Everything. There's over 3,000 iPod accessories that let you use your iPod almost anywhere. And I want to just highlight one of the new places you can use your iPod as one of those 3,000 accessories.